and welcome back to my channel. My name's Helen and this is my food diary episode 12. I normally actually start these on like the morning of, but today it's Sunday night and Ash has food prepped for us for tomorrow. So I'm dead happy. Amazing. Chicken, sweet potato, broccoli. Yes. But this week started off so good with the food prep, and then Monday night was we went out for dinner and it was amazing. Had steak and had drinks and oh my god. And then on Tuesday I was just at work till late. I think Tuesday was a pretty okay day in terms of food and stuff. And then we went to Winter Wonderland on Thursday, and then last night we went out for dinner and drinks. And today is a Saturday and I've genuinely like rearranged the whole flat because Ash is out and I have finished work and I want to feel like fresh and rejuvenated, and I don't know, spring cleaning just makes me feel better. But yeah, I've not trained all week, so that's a bit shit. However, I've been thinking, so I think like if you tend to train like 5 times a week on the norm, on like a Christmassy going outy week maybe you'll train 3 or 4 times, and if you normally train like twice then maybe you'll train 0 or once, and then if it's normally a push to train once, like you're probably not going to train. So I haven't been in a good training routine anyway, and then with festivities and socializing and whatever, like basically I don't really stand a chance. So I don't feel awful about it. I just feel like I need to get into a decent routine in the new year so that when other things come along I'm not feeling completely lazy. That's the worst. I just feel lazy and I don't feel like wonderful in my clothes and like that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go to the gym because I know I'll feel good afterwards, and that's one of the best reasons to train. Not like it shouldn't all be for aesthetics, because sometimes that's not a strong enough motivator, whereas just feeling good for me is a good strong motivator. Anyway, so I will obviously put my workout in now and I'll see you at the gym. If you listened to that whole intro, thank you so much. I know it's a dead long, but I did have a good session, and I have been starting my sessions recently with a 5 to 10 minute warm up, normally 1 or 2 songs on some kind of cardio machine, and this day it was an incline treadmill walk on like a super high incline. And then because I wanted to squat, I decided to do lots of hip mobility, some ankle mobility. I hadn't squatted in ages, so I just wanted to feel really good and open. So my first exercise, as I've already said, is my squats. So I tend to do in between high bar, low bar. Like, it's not low bar, it's not high bar, it's somewhere in the middle. It's comfortable, and that's what I would say is get comfortable. I use the reps 20, 15, 12 and 10, and I really like this because your 20 and 15 you can really focus on technique, on posture, on what you're squeezing, and then you can go heavier for your 12 and 10. So I did 20 reps with an empty bar, which is 20 kilos, and I'm trying to focus on pushing my ankles out. I find my feet roll in a little bit, so I've always focused on my knees not coming in and then not really noticed what my ankles are doing. So I'm trying to change that and push my ankles out by thinking about ripping the floor in between my feet apart. I then made sure I had a good minute and a half rest before I then put the weight up, and I did 40 kilos for 15 reps. My next set is 12 reps, and this is with 60 kilos. Again, this didn't feel particularly light. I've had a break, so I don't know why I put 60 on the bar, but it kind of felt okay. And I went to parallel, so I went to like hips level with knees, whereas normally I do go a little bit lower, and I didn't feel that stable today. I don't know, it was weird. I kind of felt strong, like my legs weren't dying, but it was more like my core was dying a little bit. When I do these though, so I activate my glutes as much as possible. I make sure I hip hinge first, therefore posteriorly loading rather than loading through the knees instead. So if you focus on pushing your hips back as much as possible and really driving into your heels and squeezing your butt at the top, then you'll get as much glute activation as possible. To get even more glute activation, you could go for a sumo squat instead. I find I have to go lighter when I do sumo squats, but I just wanted to do conventional back squats day again because it'd been a while. So my last set, my 10 rep set, was with 80 kilos, which was a bit of a big jump, but oh well, I was feeling brave and stupid. And I basically just took my time. I took rest every couple of reps, not like long rest, but like I made sure I was breathing. I made sure I was breathing in to brace before I pushed my hips back and lowered down. And yeah, it was heavy and it was hard, but that's sort of what I was going for. That's what I wanted for this set. We then move on to something slightly less technical, but just as good. This is a single leg press, and I did 3 sets of 12. The only rest I had was while the leg was working, so I find this is relatively quick. You just want to make sure that your knee is tracking over your middle toe, not your big toe, because that will be a slight internal rotation of the thigh. You want to make sure you're screwing your foot down into the platform so that your knee comes out, so that there's torque in the hip, and you want to drive through your heels so you activate your glute as much as possible. The higher your leg is on the platform, the easier it is, but the lower it is on the platform, sort of more functional it is. So you can sort of choose what you want. If you want a lot of glute, I would say foot higher. But if you want functional, then do what I do and go lower. It's definitely harder. So 3 sets of 12, heavy. Okay, moving on to like the horrible squeezy glute set. The hip abduction machine, you're going to do your 20, 15, 12, 10. You're going to go very slow and you're going to go for the biggest range that you possibly can. So I find putting my hands on my bum and actually trying to sit upright and trying to squeeze my glutes so much that my hips are trying to push through, my knees are getting so wide that I'm in the box splits. That kind of feeling, that's where I like to be. When I lift my bum, I find I just use my body weight to help me. So yeah, take that lift out, sit down, sit tall, and just squeeze. That is the best way to do it. So each set is going to get heavier. 20 and 15 are all about activation. It's light and it's the fullest range possible, and that will hurt even when it's light. And then your 12 and 10 are heavier. I actually just went up by 5 kilo increments on each set. In between, you are going to do 15 Romanian deadlifts with a kettlebell, or you could grab a bar, like a fixed bar, whatever is sort of available in your gym. And on these, I'm putting my weight as far back into my heels as I can, hinging from my hips, and then focusing on squeezing my glutes to initiate the lift on the way back up. So that is 15 of those. I'm using a 24 because that's what sort of felt comfortable for me. I keep my chin tucked in on some of my sets and I look in the mirror in some of them. Ideally, you just want your head to be in line, but I was tucking my chin in and all the way down because then I know that I'm not going to flare my rib cage when I bring my hips all the way through. But look in the mirror if you need to check that you're in a straight line. Don't look at it forward, look at it side on. But as long as you're initiating movement from your hips first, therefore loading your hamstrings and your glutes, then you're going to pretty much be in the right place. Keep your core really tight so that your back stays straight. Keep pulling your shoulders backwards. That's a lot of information, but yeah, 15. That number is going to stay at 15 and you're going to do that straight away after your set of hip abductions. Then have a rest so you can come back to your hip abductions. I was going to say fresh, but not, you won't be fresh. But have a minute to a minute and a half rest in between sets, 4 sets in total. So recently, kickbacks have been my least favourite exercise. I find my right leg just hates being the supporting leg. So if you have a bench nearby, it's so much easier to kneel on a bench. But anyway, I was doing standing ones. This is really light. I think it's on like 3 kilos or something. And I did 12 reps and 3 sets on each leg to finish. I tried to go heavier with each set, and if you're comfortable, then do so. But yeah, my supporting leg was just knackered. On this side, when I do my left side, it's actually like when I stand on my left and you work my right, it's kind of okay. But yes, 3 sets of 12 cable kickbacks. Make sure you are squeezing your glute at the top. It is not about going really, really fast, even though I have sped this clip up. But still go slow, still focus on squeezing. It is not just swinging your leg back. You want to keep your chest down and your core tight so that your back isn't doing the work. It's not about arching your back and getting a beautiful curve. It's butt stay still, hip stay still. The squeeze comes from your glutes and your glutes only. To finish off, either stretch or foam roll. My quads and shins have been so tight at the moment, so that is what I foam rolled. My quads mainly because I hadn't squatted in a while and I knew that my quads would be dying, and my shins because from focusing on pushing my heels out, I feel like the sides of my calves and my shins are having to do a little bit more work. So not a shin splint feeling, but anyway. So yeah, so that's why I chose those areas. But if you find you get really tight hips or glutes, then you can stretch and foam roll your glutes. If you get a really tight lower back, then similarly. But focus on what is best for you. Why was all of that so difficult to say? But that is gonna finish this video and finish this voiceover. I hope that you really enjoyed this video, and if you have any ideas or feedback, then please let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you in my next video, and until then, stay happy and healthy. Bye.